A lot of people complaining about me watching Fox News videos. They say, oh, you keep watching Fox News. Fox News is fake. Well, we're watching CNN now, so stop crying.
Stock markets opened just a few minutes ago, and it's not pretty. Down big, especially the tech-heavy NASDAQ. CNN's Matt Egan is here to explain what we're seeing and why, Matt.
Yeah, John, we've got a bit of a tech sell-off this morning, and it's being caused by earth-shattering developments in the AI space. Let's take a look at this. Did you see the Dow down more than 140 points right now? The S&P solidly lower, but the real action is over here in the NASDAQ, 600 points lower, nearly 3% on track for one of its...
Again, it's a vibe, right? I mean, I think that a lot of stock market stuff is like straight up just vibes. And like if the vibe is that China's beating us the fuck out, and it's like basically they showed this, they pretty much like stealth launched this. It's not like people, like everybody knew this was coming, but it's one thing to know it's coming and it's another for it to be here. And so it's like, if I'm a gambling man and somebody plays this card and this card is such a strong play and this person hasn't played any other cards before then, really? I'm going to think to myself, I bet they have more cards. And that's probably why I think it's going down from those vibes. And I think it's more complex than that, obviously, but I think that that's at least a little bit of the essence of it.
Worst days in the
NVIDIA stock price?
2 years. And here's
that's because they're directly correlated.
A Chinese startup that few people had ever heard of until the past few days, and it has emerged as a real player in the AI arms race. It's called DeepSeek, and investors, and I would imagine officials in Washington, are stunned to learn that DeepSeek's AI model has developed technology that can actually be competitive with OpenAI and Google and XAI and all these more.
And another thing about why it's coming in and why it's such a big disruptor is that it's, as far as I know, it's open source and free. So a lot of these other services, you need to pay money in order to activate them and use them, but DeepSeek is free. So it's like now, it's like imagine somebody's, it's like imagine like, oh, I'm investing in McDonald's. Well, McDonald's is great. And, but what happens when what happens when a wizard comes in and makes a shop next to McDonald's and he can just immediately fucking summon free hamburgers and just give them to everybody? Well, less people are going to go to fucking McDonald's.
Established players. It's only been around for a bit, but DeepSeek has already vaulted to the top of
DeepSeek
the App
you can
Store
use without,
on Apple as the most downloaded
You're making the assumption that because it's Chinese, the reason why they're adding it in is a psyop in order to have Americans give them more information so the Chinese government can use it against us. I see what your point is. You can use DeepSeek without an internet connection. That's my understanding, again.
Passing ChatGPT, which is pretty shocking.
I think that destroys that argument.
Veteran investor, billionaire Mark Andreessen, a legendary tech investor, he said that DeepSeek is, quote, one of the most amazing and impressive breakthroughs that he has ever seen. Now, the most stunning thing here isn't necessarily that China has developed a pretty good AI app. It's how cheap it is. DeepSeek says that their AI model only cost $5.6 million. Now, we don't know that, but if that's true, that is pretty stunning. Anthropic, one of the leading AI companies, has said that it costs about $100 million to $1 billion to develop an AI model. We know that Mark Zuckerberg, the Meta CEO, says that his company plans to spend $65 billion on AI. So, John, look,
a lot of money.
This is all really questioning sort of the foundation here of the AI boom, which is that it requires a lot of spending, which is that the U.S. is running away with the AI arms race. And
by the way, I think it makes sense that China is able to do it cheaper. They could have gotten the information from other places. They maybe didn't have to follow as many regulations. There's a lower standard of living, which results in a lower cost of production. And so, like, there are a lot of things that are a factor. Now, I'm not saying that, of course, Meta and OpenAI might have morons that they're spending too much money on the product, but I'm saying that there are also, like, larger, just, like, overarching factors that would cause this to happen on its own. I think Black Myth Wukong is a good parallel to this. Black Myth Wukong was developed for, I think, less than, like, $70 million. And it was like a massive game, but like how much would that game cost to make in America, considering like cost of living adjustments, probably more like 200.
Also questioning some of the big positives that had pushed markets to record highs.
It's a guess.
A lot of people put a lot of money into AI, and now they're wondering if that money is needed the way that some of these American companies have said it is.
Exactly.
We just don't know if the claims being made by these Chinese companies.
Yeah, this is moving so fast. It's stunning.
All right, we're going to stay on top of this. As we said, big drops, especially in the NASDAQ. Speaking
a lot more about DeepSeek, it's one of these big stocks that has really changed the game, it seems, in just a couple of days. Without warning, a big unknown Chinese firm.
That's another reason why it fucks up the stock market. People hate uncertainty. People are terrified of uncertainty.
Rattling the U.S. market. Shirley Palmer is CEO of the Palmer Group and a professor of advanced media. He joins me now from New York. Shirley, great to have you with us.
Great to be here.
It seems like there's a bit of a coup happening in the AI space. Tell me about DeepSeek, what you know about it. I mean, it's a startup. It's 1-year-old company. A lot of people are downloading it. And the question is it taking on the big guys in the United States?
So DeepSeek is a company out of China.
I think that the players in the AI space knew this was going to happen, and I think that's the reason why they were working with Trump ahead of time to develop the Stargate initiative, and I think that's the reason why Trump signed away a lot of the AI limitations and regulations that Biden put in. I think they knew this was coming. And I think that in the context of them knowing that it was coming and investing all of this money into it, it means that also they have a confident perspective that they can still come out ahead. And I think Vivek said this on Twitter. I think it was a really good idea, a really good point, is that this is kind of like a Sputnik moment for America. Is because, like, you know, for context, Sputnik, like, so we had like the space race in like the 60s, right? And Sputnik was the first thing that got sent up into space. And it was done by the Russians, which made us here in America just go fucking like massive whole hog big dick on getting people to the moon, right? The space race, exactly. And so I think that this actually could be a very good motivator for a lot of the companies here to like really push. Because I do think that ASI, like artificial superintelligence, I think that it could be more... what's the word for it? More effective and more powerful, effectively, than a nuclear bomb.
As a startup, as you said, it's about a year old. They have a model called DeepSeek V3, and in the last little bit, they released R1, which is a reasoning engine, and it's open source on an MIT license. You can download it. The magic here is that instead of taking months to train and hundreds of millions of dollars, it took under 2 months to train and cost under, according to the company, under $6 million to train. When you download it, you can post-train it, and pre-trained transformer models need to be post-trained in order to be valuable. And the compute cost is a fraction. We're talking a few percentage points fraction of what it costs to use the large language models from the big hyperscalers and foundational model builders like OpenAI or Anthropic or any of the other large foundational model builders. So
I don't know.
This cost savings, along with the basically lightweight of the model, meaning you can download it and run it on a laptop, has sent kind of shivers through the spine.
That's also been like a huge level of criticism that a lot of people have had against AI, is that AI is so energy intensive. And now that that energy intensiveness is being, optimized, I think that's going to make it harder to criticize AI. Also, keep in mind, some people are saying that this might be different than the space race because it's not nations. I would disagree with you. I think that Trump absolutely put America in the ring for AI by doing Stargate. I think he absolutely did. And then also every company in China is directly linked. They have to have, big companies have to have direct relation to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. So I think that, yes, you're right that it's different, but it's basically like a proxy war this time. But be very aware that I think this is absolutely two countries that are working with companies to overtake each other. That's what I think is happening. That's my take on it.
because what this really means is there's a possible future where algorithmic efficiency beats brute force computation. And the entire AI industry in the United States and around the world has been thinking about high-level computation and big data centers and a lot of energy use and chips. And now they're thinking, maybe not.
Well, my understanding is that there is a hypothesis that the chips that they're using are not ones that are available yet, that were produced by NVIDIA. They were the H100 chips. That's what Elon Musk said on Twitter. So I don't have enough information about that to like really know whether it's true or not. But I think that maybe that's what's happening. There's a good chance. There's no proof. Yeah.
So it's a really good one to look at in terms of the numbers, because you're saying, and DeepSeek saying, that they spent just $5.6 million on this new AI model.
That's insane.
Meta last week said it would spend upward of $65 billion. How come DeepSeek was able to crack this code and do it so much more efficiently?
I wonder.
And the big guys in the US unable to do so?
First of all, it's hard to speculate, but let's just say the following. There is a cliche that I believe is a cliche for a reason. There are more honors students in China than there are students in the United States. You're talking about a very deep pool of very smart people. That's thing one. Two, they've been restricted from getting all of the tools they need from the West, including specifically the kind of chips that would do the computation they need to do the advanced computation. This is a mathematical solution to a hardware problem. It's called algorithmic efficiency. They've actually written code that's more efficient than the code that's being used generally in the space throughout the world. So how did they do it? It's open source. You can see their research. They've been very good and transparent about publishing their research. They haven't exactly shown the secret sauce, but it is something.
It's like video games, right? It's like when video games aren't optimized and it's like on Unreal 5 and like you look at a tree and like your frame rate goes to 7. It's like, yeah, that's what's happening.
That we'll be able to replicate. And by the way, the markets are reacting in a knee jerk, and most people don't understand any of what I'm about to say to you.
Exactly.
No one in the United States, no American, no company anywhere on earth, to be fair, is going to lay down and die because a couple of engineers figured out a better algorithm. Math is math, and engineering is engineering, and these algorithmic efficiency approaches will be figured out worldwide. Now, what does that mean for NVIDIA's chip prices? What does that mean for nuclear power plants for data centers? What does that mean for future data centers? The jury's still out. By the way, no one's replicated this. For all we know, this is the Sputnik moment, or this is the cyber Pearl Harbor where they faked this whole thing and it really wasn't done for $5.5 million in 2 months. We don't know. My guess is it was done for $6 million, and was done in 2 months. That's my guess. And we're all going to have to rise to the challenge. And by the way, I am confident that everybody will.
I think this is also another really big component, is that like when you accept mediocrity and you accept people that are shitty and like bad performance, you basically set yourself up to lose to people who don't. Because that's it. Like, it's like, oh, well, whenever it's, oh, well, things are fine enough the way that they are, other people will come in and they will outperform you.
Yeah, this is the thing. We were talking about the race, the AI race, and I think this is pretty much indicative of the race that has truly just begun. As you say, you can crack this code.
DEI and NVIDIA engineers, I don't think that's what's being said. No, nobody thinks that.
A mathematical solution, then you've got people that could work on it. But you touched on something in terms of the hardware and the GPUs and NVIDIA and so forth, and even what it means for electricity consumption for data centers. If what we're hearing from DeepSeek is in fact all factual, what does it actually mean? Does this change the calculation completely for AI?
So at the moment, it is much less expensive to run DeepSeek R1 locally than it is to, or even in the cloud.
That word, keep in mind, locally. That means that you can run this without an internet connection. That's fucking huge. That's insane.
Than it is to run any of the other models. So the question is not, is this better or worse? The question is, going forward, is algorithmic efficiency, this ability to run smaller models more efficiently, going to be a better path forward than the brute force massive compute models that we've used so far at OpenAI and Anthropic and at Google Gemini and at Llama, for Meta's Llama? We don't know the answer to that. Right now, it points towards two futures. One future is algorithmic efficiency. The other is brute force compute. There's no one in the world who can answer this question right now. It's all speculation.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how can you say that? Like, the obvious answer is both. Like, whoever creates the best equilibrium between the two things, they're the ones who are going to win. Like, these aren't mutually exclusive. And they've probably already done that.
Time will tell. And as you've just said, it's very early days, which is like the beginning of the race. We're nowhere near the end of this race.
That's true.
We've never seen anything come this quickly. We've never seen exponential improvement that has really hit us at this speed. So it's accelerating, and we're going to all learn together. That's just the way it's going to go. And the markets are going to follow along because markets do that.
I think he's pretty much right. I mean, like, I think that it's very hard really to tell. Supercomputer is the finish line. Well, I think that a lot of people are banking on things like quantum computing and shit like that to, like, really kind of be that edge. But I have no idea, right? I mean, I don't know enough about it. Like, I know a little bit about it, but I don't know enough about it. Fourth video is good. Yeah, no, I'll look at this probably. Well, this is the one that they made a little bit ago. But it does seem like, obviously, that this thing's going to get huge. I mean, it will. And I think also you're probably going to see more people developing their own models as well. I think it's like Edison versus Tesla. Well, it's very hard really for me to say about that. I don't know. But either way, I think this is really interesting. And that's only just begun. Yeah, did you see NVIDIA stock? No, I didn't. Let me look at it. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. NVIDIA stock. Not so good. Wow, went down a lot. Oh my God. Oh my God. It didn't go down a lot. It went down by 20%. Holy fuck. Oh my God. Did Pelosi pull out? Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll have to see what happens. It crashed. I mean, I wouldn't say this is a crash. I can't say it's a crash yet. Like, if you look at 6 months, it's still above where it was at for 6 months. And I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think that the new chipsets that they announced this year, the 5090s and everything, do you think that they... Like, my opinion is, like, it was a 6 or a 7 out of 10. A 5. Wow. Yeah, mid, right? Kind of disappointing. I think that this is a problem also, is that NVIDIA has been, like, such a meteoric success. And because it's been such a meteoric success, people expect that to continue, right? They expect it to just keep having these, like, crazy updates and everything. And when that doesn't happen, then people freak out and they're like, oh my God, maybe the gravy train is ending. So I personally think that NVIDIA might be a little bit overvalued. I think so. I think that there's too much speculation. But maybe not. Who knows?